Okay, well, we are very, very excited. We've got a great, great show today. She's known for her role in the CBS hit series Blue Bloods as Detective Abigail Baker. Other appearances include The Jim Gaffigan Show, Law and Order SVU. Please welcome TV and film actress Abigail Hawk.
Hi, Abigail.
Oh, hi. Is that my cue?
Oh,
Oh,
hi.
hi. I have arrived. Hello.
Yes, you're here. Welcome, welcome. Sit down. Grab a
Thank you.
grab a coffee. Grab anything you
Oh,
want there.
oh,
There's
thanks.
some pastries over there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just grab this tea.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Happy to have you here. Abigail, you're a Chicago native, correct?
Nope. Nope, I'm not. The internet has
What?
lied. It's true. Listen, I need to set the record straight right now because I've tried on IMDb and Twitter
All right. The
and
whole
the
world
news.
is listening,
The
so
whole,
go ahead.
yes, the entire world is listening, so I'm going to set the record straight right now, okay,
Go
for
ahead.
the 50th time. But this is going to be the last time, obviously, because everyone
She was born in Lambert, Illinois, not
I
Chicago.
I was born. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I always have been. I was born there at Piedmont Hospital. And I am not, in fact,
Piedmont's
born
great hospital.
such a great hospital. Yeah, you know. I remember every moment. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I was not born May 4th, 1985. I was born April 18th, 1982. So although I appreciate the internet trying
Well,
to make
that's
me 3
nice.
years younger, you know, and some ageist bullshit, I am
Yeah.
proudly 39,
Love it.
not 36.
Love it. Maybe somebody from Chicago is like, she's so great.
She needs
Let's
to be
just
from
let's
here.
just put this up on IMDb ASAP and just call her ours.
I have no idea where that came from, but it's everywhere. And
That's odd.
I've literally gone onto IMDb and tried to correct it, and I'm like, hello, I am telling, like,
This
here's
is
my
me.
birth certificate. This is what.
They're like, we need a little more than that. We're so sorry.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. We're gonna need your pinky toe and your finger.
We had a guy named Jim with no last name tell us that you're from Chicago, so
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But all right, so
keyboard Karen. Anyway,
so Atlanta.
yeah.
How
I know
long
it's
did
much less
you?
interesting.
Not even close. No, I'm very interested in. Well, you it's a Southern upbringing. How was
It
growing
is.
up in Georgia?
You know, I loved the people that I grew up around. I was very ready to leave when I turned 18, just because I wanted to spread my wings a little bit and see what else was out there. So I got a theater scholarship to the University of Maryland, and decided to, you know, go to a liberal arts school because let me not get ahead of myself. I loved Atlanta. I had a fabulous agent there. I did a television series when I was 12 with Ryan Seacrest, which a lot of people don't know. And I absolutely worshiped him. He was 19 and I was madly in love with his Zach Morris comb over hair style that was happening, this like effortless beach wave thing. And he was this poor dude that got trapped in our attic computer upstairs somehow, you know, like he lived in the house before we bought it and he got trapped in the computer, and he would take us on all kinds of adventures. And like in hindsight, like that's really effed up because this poor dude's trapped in a computer for the rest of his life and he's just like quantum bits and we're just like, hey, take us on adventures, Jack Kraft, we want to know about it. It's so weird. Anyway, it was a 90s. Yeah, it was very, very weird. It was very short-lived. I filmed it, you know, the summer between 6th and 7th grade, and I thought that was going to be my big break, you know.
Sure.
It wasn't.
That's odd.
I know, it's really, really odd, but you know, clearly it set the stage for Ryan's success. So
Yeah.
we're happy for him.
He's doing pretty good.
I think he's okay. Yeah, I think he's gonna make it, guys.
So when you were 12, were you like begging your parents to go to you know, auditions and all that stuff? This is well before The Walking Dead and well before Georgia became kind of this big film
Most of this
center.
is before Atlanta was anything other than just a hotbed of humidity.
With
which
the
it still
Coca-Cola
is.
plant. Yeah.
Yep. And the Coca-Cola Museum, which is actually a really cool place. You can
I
try
love it.
Soda from all over the world.
Yep.
So, you know, it's interesting because I'd say my foray into acting really started when I was 6, because I auditioned for my mom took me to audition for a community theater production of The Sound of Music,
Yes.
and I got cast as in the role of Gretel, and that was
Cute little Gretel.
that was it for me. I mean, like I felt I had met my people. It was, I made friends that I actually still talk to this day.
Oh, that's amazing.
I met my voice teacher who became like a second mom to me. I took professional voice lessons from her until I graduated high school and moved. So from age 6 to 18, she was, my second mom, and my therapist and many other things. Poor woman.
Right.
Saint.
She's
she
like,
went
we're
through
here for
all
singing.
Yeah.
And I was
Just here for singing.
I just don't want to have to wear a padded bra anymore. He doesn't like me for me. I mean, like this, she heard I made her listen to all the songs that I wrote on piano, which were obviously terrible and very like teenage angst driven. Every other thing was like, I just want to flush myself down the toilet. Like I was very dramatic. Anyway, so, once I did that production, I just was like feverish for all of them. And so my mom would drive me around, and I mean, I don't know how 80s parents survived. I mean, I guess because we didn't have like the internet and, all that stuff going on. So there was more time in the day. Like it wasn't this time suck that it is now. But, I had piano lessons, I had sports, I had 2 different choirs that I was in, the voice lessons and theater productions, not to mention Girl Scouts and like all the after school stuff that I did. And somehow there was still time in the day to like go over to my best friends and play in the creek for 4 hours every day. Like speaking of how weird time is, I don't understand that. So I did like 10 different productions, just boom, 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 and became known as, the theater girl at my school. Like all my friends would come see my, the whole Girl Scout troop would come see my shows. And
when you were in this zone of like, this is what I like to do, this is what I want to do, and you're doing it, did you acknowledge that this was something that in the future you were going to make this your life? Or was this something that you just said, I love doing this? And
I mean,
ask any questions.
It just felt inherently mine. And I was so sure. And that feeling really remained. I mean, I think I went through, the same phases that most kids do where they're like, oh, I'm going to be an astronaut. I'm going to be, a marine biologist. I'm going to be an entomologist. And you're like,
I wonder what I'll wear to my late debut.
What am I going to, should I go with like the outfit from Greece and be a pink lady when I show up and work with the dolphins? What am I going to do?
Isn't it wild that, I mean, you're not the first person to say this, where we had something years ago when we were young, before we got littered with the idea that you have to hate what you do for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Like, we just wanted to do this early on. And
yes,
it's
and
weird.
Not everybody is like that, but I just loved it. I loved the instant family and community that I got from theater. I loved the fact that I was accepted. There were no questions asked. I was allowed to be myself. I was such a quick study and I memorized everybody's lines, not just my own. So I was very bossy. When people messed up, I was like, oh, no,
right. Yeah.
Your line is actually, it's this. There's a little ellipses and you have to.
No, your cue, Billy.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus.
Come on. So then like, I did this.
The director's like, why am I even here?
I got kicked out of a play when I was 9, somewhere between like 8 and 10. I was doing a production of Snoopy and I was cast as Woodstock. And apparently I was, too ADD to continue. Like they were I was with like a whole bunch of high school kids. This was, and this was like a good community theater, like mix of professionals and, equity and non-equity actors. And I mean, they went up to my mom and they were like, we can't do this. She can't focus during rehearsal.
Like all these kids are the crazy kids, but then there's her, and she's
and
crazier than the crazy
she's
kids.
like flipping over the theater chairs, and she won't stop talking. So we're gonna have to recast. It's just not working out.
Well, if Charlie Brown would get on his mark, we wouldn't be here, would we?
Thank you. If Snoopy would actually lay on top of the doghouse like he's supposed to, I wouldn't have to do his job.
Amateurs.
And they'd given Woodstock some lines. Like I have
Look at the source material, everyone.
Whoa.
Look at the source material.
Oh,
come
rude.
on. It's been around for decades. Do your research.
How about that? Oh my God.
So rude. So yeah, then she started, I mean, my mom, like, I can't even tell you how much I owe my mother, because she wasn't a stage mom. She was only doing the shuttling around of everything as long as it was fulfilling me. It was not you need to go to this, you need to go to this, it's time for this. It was is this still feeding you? Is this still, is this what you want? And she had the option, her and my dad, they gave me the option pretty early on. I'd say like, middle school, right before high school, to, homeschool and start trying to do this professionally and be a child actor. And I said no. And so I didn't go that route. And there's a huge break, in my career where I didn't do anything except just
And why was that? You wanted to be a kid.
Because I wanted to be a kid. And I did all the high school musicals and the middle school musicals, and I did show choir, and I still, took my voice lessons and stuff. And then I would audition for little television things, bit parts in movies, things that were happening local. And my agent would send me out and stuff. And, there was, when I was 15, I thought I was going to get another big break. And I I almost booked, this is one of those soul crushing things that has just, defined me for a long time, because we are in the business of rejection, we all know this. We make ourselves look nice, we memorize our lines, and then we go out and fail. That's what we do. And I sent in a tape for a USA Movie of the Week back when they still did those, for a book, made for TV movie of Carson McCullers' The Member of the Wedding, which was a book that had been turned into a screenplay for the main role. And it was one of those things that like I worked with an acting coach and just like threw myself heart first into it, and didn't, let it go, sent off the tape. And then a month later, I heard from them, and they were like, you are this character. We're going to have you come up to Wilmington, North Carolina, which is what Wilmington, North Carolina, maybe you guys remember this, that was like the hot spot for film and television. Like Dawson's Creek was there. I'm trying to think what else was filmed there, but like it wasn't Atlanta, it was Wilmington, North Carolina. That was the South. So any like big thing that filmed, it was there. And we went up there, we stayed in a hotel. I met with the director, the producers, somebody from the network, and they were like, hey, can you take your braces off? Because it doesn't work. This is a period piece. And I was like, oh yeah, sure. And they were like, you have to chop your hair off. And I'm like, oh yeah, sure. Whatever you need. And this is as a 15-year-old girl, like I'm going into high school, and this is 96. So you're talking like, this would have been an enormous thing for me to get my braces off and chop off my hair. Like as a girl, that just wasn't done. I feel like now it's so different, and you have people with hair all over the place. But back then, especially in the South, your hair was everything. And I was like, oh yeah, take it. Just take it. I want to
anything.
Do it so
give it to me.
Anything.
Whatever.
Just give me the role.
Right. Take off my arm.
Yeah. What do you want? Here's my little sister. I hate her anyway.
Right.
Oh no.
And oh my God, I love her now. But back then.
Get it. Yeah.
Now.
Sorry.
Oh wait.
For listening. I love you so much. I love you so much. You're my favorite. And
I would never give you away unless it was really big.
I would never give you away. I just chose to move away from you instead. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. So I was at this. So then, came back, had this amazing audition, and they were like, basically the role is yours except for signing on the dotted line. Right. So I went to a summer performing arts camp, and, had that feeling for really, I think the first time in my life where I just was like, this is it. Like, this is going to change everything. This is going to open all the doors. I don't know what's going to happen after this, but like, I just was so like never more certain of anything in my life that this was meant to be. I just felt like the whole universe was delivering this beautiful, amazing thing to me. So I'm in the middle of doing stage combat class at this performing arts camp. And the payphone rings, because of course this was before cell phones. So the payphone rings and the counselor comes and gets me. He goes, "Hey, your mom's on the phone." And I was like, "Oh my God, this is it. Oh my God, I'm finding out. I got the role." And she was really quiet. And I was like, "Mom." And she goes, "I'm so sorry. The network decided to give it to a name." And I was like, "What do you mean?"
Ooh. You're like, "I have a name."
Yeah, right. "You didn't get it."
Oh.
And I was like,
"You're like, I'm going to kill Melissa Joan Hart."
Well, I can tell you who it was.
Please.
So it was Anna Paquin.
Okay.
And it was,
had she been nominated for an Oscar yet?
This was after, yes. So we're about the same age. So this was so about 3 or 4 years after the Oscar thing. I think she was 11.
Yeah.
So then I find out that, they want to give me, a featured extra role, a background role. And I'd go up, as a consolation prize. I'd go up for the day and, be a bridesmaid in this wedding scene, and have whatever.
And the other extras can't eat from Crafty, but you can.
But you can.
And isn't that nice?
And this is also like after I did a documentary for the Weather Channel. Like, I don't understand why I wasn't a name. Everyone saw it. Jim Cantore and I were like best friends, and we discovered whatever. I snorkeled with Jim Cantore and went in a hot air balloon with him and talked about the power of weather. Okay. It was
Who hasn't?
A lot of people hadn't. Like, we were watching the video in my 8th grade science class. So I was famous.
Okay. So in school, were you kind of like socially, were you sort of like
no
the cool girl because of all this?
No, I was such a nerd.
Oh, nice.
I was the biggest nerd ever and went through the most awkward puberty ever. And like, I had, the Sally Jesse Raphael glasses and the big
red rims. Yeah.
Yes. Big, thick baby bangs that were like here. And then here's the glasses. And then here's my braces. So where was my face? No, it didn't even exist. So anyway, yeah. That was crushing. I mean, beyond. And then to just drive the nail into the coffin and bury me. I went, to do a day on this film.
Oh, you actually did?
I did it. Yes.
Okay.
Because of course I did. I could put it on my resume, and like, I was trying to learn that if I wanted to do this, I had to thicken up my skin. So of course, the day that, this scene was filming was Anna's birthday.
Oh,
you're like, it's my day.
It was so, like, you don't understand how much it is. I mean, have you guys ever had a part just like taken from you that it's just like, it was my part, and I can't. So then, I, trying to be the bigger person, I went up to her when I saw her between takes, and I was like, "Hey, I hear it's your birthday. Happy birthday." And she like turns and slow-mo looks through me, is more like it, looks me up and down and goes, "Who are you?" And I just died right then and there. Like, I died. Shattered in a million little pieces.
Isn't that the thing that you think about every night while you're just trying to fall asleep? One of those thoughts from the past, just like, remember
what's so
Anna.
horrible is like, I can't even follow her on social media now. And like, come on, she was just a 14-year-old girl. Like, my God, I need to forgive her and move on. Like, I actually respect her greatly. I think she's a great actor, and, she's working, she's successful. I love the fact that she's out as bisexual and talking about the fact that, because a lot of there's bi erasure everywhere. People assume, especially if you're married to a man, that you're not really bisexual. A whole slew of things that are reasons I respect her. But I just can't get past that. And my husband has been like on this True Blood binge, and I'm like, mother.
Oh no.
And he's like, don't you want to watch it with me? And I'm like, I can't. I'm so sorry, but I cannot. I cannot. And maybe one day we'll like do a movie together and we'll laugh about all of this and get drunk together. But today is not that day.
Or maybe she'll come up to you and say, "Hi, I'm Anna. I just wanted to introduce myself. I know we have
I'll
a
be
couple
like,
of days." And you'll be like,
"Who are you?"
Who? Exactly.
Who are
exactly.
you?
But
Sorry.
obviously that didn't deter you. You that might have hit you real hard, but you kept going in the game. So let's jump through. I'm sure it's awful. I couldn't imagine handling rejection as an adult and handling that kind of rejection as a child, as a teenager, in your worst years of self-doubt.
Well, like the highs and lows are unreal in this business. Like they
Terrible.
are unreal. Yeah.
But I'm glad you mentioned it, because we are jumping to more of a like talking about the idea of this, but that is soul crushing. Part of the elemental component of this business is like striving amidst turmoil, like some sort of thing that just keeps going, even though you're hit. You're like that guy that keeps getting punched in the face and you look up and you just laugh and he punches you harder.
Yes.
You're just like, give it to me. This is the business and you're built for this. That's your ship. And so of course, I'm a big believer in whatever is handed to us from the universe or, anywhere, wherever. We're only given so much that we can handle. And so extremely difficult things that you've gone through are only things that Abigail could go through and the next girl could not. It's given to you because you're able to handle it.
Sure.
And you learned something so early on about just persistence amidst defeat.
I mean, and at the end of the day, I felt so like high school was enough as it was. I mean, I'm actually really grateful that I didn't lose out on a normal high school experience. I'm very grateful for that because, we really got to explore all kinds of things. We did the big musicals, we did Shakespeare, we did the black box theater, the intimate character pieces. And so I felt really prepared when I went to college, and like I said earlier, I got a theater scholarship to the University of Maryland. So like I went in and arrived my first day feeling pretty damn good because they had already recognized that I had some innate talent. Right. And I really, I'm proud of the way that I navigated college because I made a conscious choice. Obviously the scholarship helped, but I made a conscious choice to go to a liberal arts college because I did not want to live with a whole bunch of artists and be in a conservatory type environment.
Interesting. Let me ask you why. When I went to college, I did the same thing. I lived in a fraternity. I did the film stuff. I did while my friends were essentially spending
immersed.
The equivalent of like a varsity college athlete, how much time you're spending in the theater department, in the theater itself. I found that after college, actors who were in those confines for so long almost didn't have that human thing. Like they are just an actor. And those who kind of went the other way, instead of the conservatory, they were just a normal person living with normal people who now they know how to act like a normal person instead of act like an actor. Was that going through your head? Was that in your strategy?
So I minored in life sciences because I still, harbor a very deep rooted desire to be with all things animals and bugs. And that's another story. But I lived with a whole bunch of organic chemistry and biology majors. And it was the best time of my life because I still had all of my theater classes and saw those people. I just didn't live with them. And so I gained like I met my first vegan, my freshman roommate of my freshman year was the first vegan I had ever met. Cause again, I come from the South where butter is a food group and we don't, I looked at someone and I'm like, I'm sorry, you don't eat cheese? How do you, I'm sorry.
What do you put on all your other food?
you're a college student and you don't eat Easy Mac? What? No, I don't understand. I don't understand.
What do you put on your pizza? What?
Yeah. I was like, what's curry? So, and she's the reason that I didn't flunk out of, biology 101, because I couldn't do it, and that's why I didn't end up double majoring, because I got to organic chemistry and I was like, I'm out. Sorry.
Right. I don't
that part of my brain is in the Neanderthal phase, so we're good. But I lived with these amazing people who were just normal college kids, and so I had that quintessential college experience, rather than just living and immersing myself in the constant angst. And I don't think it necessarily, I don't think I understood the ramifications of it then. It was more once I moved to New York and realized, oh, I actually, every audition that I go on, I'm like, oh, I know that person. Oh, I know who she is. Oh, I know
I'm
who this.
so glad you're talking about this. I
Yeah,
felt the
it's
same way, and
very-
I felt like I was the only person who like saw this. Like, why do these types of people really feel like a human being, and these types of people feel like a fake human, like not a
Yeah,
like a robot trying to be a human?
it's really, and I remember, I mean, I had college professors take to me in various ways. There quite a few did not understand. I wasn't their cup of tea. I had one of them describe me as being flighty, and I was like, okay, and what's the? I'm sorry, I don't understand the problem, because again, I couldn't focus. Right. I was just that little Woodstock flipping over the theater seats, But it annoyed me, because like some professors were like, oh, you need to be very, you have to be a serious actor, and I'm like, yes, but comedy's a thing. Just in case you didn't know that, it does exist. But I was very, I found that I was always able to be conversational when delivering dialogue. And every time I would audition in the drama program, I would always nail it, because I could cold read like nobody's business, because I understand how people talk. And this is probably a really good segue into my survival job. After I moved to New York, I got a job in retail, and I thrived. I mean, I'm telling you, like, if it was something I was into, easily could have been my career. And there were multiple times during the 7 years that I worked for this company that I did start climbing the ladder and got a ways, and then I would like back off because something, an audition would come my way. But the wonderful thing about being an actor and having these survival jobs is that you already have the skills, the communication skills, to, like, somebody would walk in, right? And let's just say I was, at one of the locations on the Upper West Side, right? And a Columbus Avenue mom would walk in. I knew how to sell to her.
Right.
I could change my personality. And that's something I feel like only an actor really can do, because I could speak her language. And then they put me down on Bleecker Street, right? In the Village.
Man.
Whole
other crowd.
Same
whole
thing.
Other crowd.
Yeah, that's our equivalent of taking in the room.
Yes.
Immediately in 1 second, you know just how to.
What's the universe of the play? How do I fit into this? And so you're a chameleon.
Yeah. And a lot of our job is observation. And it sounds like when you were in college and you were surrounded by a certain group who had lives outside of the theater, it was easy for you to observe and see the things that the theater students didn't. And then in the world of retail, it's a revolving door of customers. Everyone's going to be entirely different. Everyone's going to have little ticks and things about them and the way that they talk, their attitude. And as actors, as observers, what incredible practice, if you will, for just understanding human behavior.
Exactly. And I mean, so it was never my time with L'Occitane, which is the company that I worked for. It's a French skincare company. My time there was so valuable, and it was not wasted. I mean, I was always working because, even the beautiful thing about New York is that it's just this gorgeous human experiment, and you can see all of these different kinds of people everywhere. And I think, in hindsight, perhaps one of the reasons I left Atlanta was because I really needed my eyes opened as a white woman who can clearly not play anything other than this. You know, I don't know what. Speaking of dogs barking, if you can hear mine, I'm sorry. She gets very excited when the mail gets dropped off.
Bring her on. Oh, nice.
Yeah, she loves our postman. I don't think it's reciprocal. Sorry. Where was I? Thanks a lot, Jane. Lost my whole train of thought.
Jane, I like that.
Her name is Jane Goodall.
Oh, nice. You are into animals, aren't you?
I love
You have
that.
no idea. You have no idea.
I read her biography. Did you read her biography? It's amazing.
I worship that woman.
Yeah.
And our puppy has double dew claws, so she actually looks like a monkey. Like she looks like she has opposable thumbs. So the second we saw her, I was like, well, she's clearly named this. And my husband was like, are we going to talk about this? And I said, no, that's her name.
Yeah,
Sorry.
That's it.
Sorry.
And we're not watching an Anna Paquin movie tonight. Thank you.
No, not today, Satan. Not today. Poor Anna. But seriously, come on, bitch. Like,
Seriously.
Somebody clearly did not take her cotillion classes like I did. Okay.
Okay. Yes.
I know. That's what I was talking about. Yeah, I feel like as a white woman, I had to spread my wings and get out there and experience as many different kinds of cultures and stories as possible. And what better place to do that than New York? Yeah.
Was this after college?
So Maryland, you right.
Mhm.
Okay. So after Maryland, you kind of knew you did everything that you could do where you were, and you set your sights on New York, or were you flirting with LA?
It's funny. I get asked this question quite a bit. I was flirting more with staying in DC than LA, for many reasons. First of all, I love politics. I was so naive.
Love
with that.
it.
Yeah. I loved DC theater. I feel like DC theater is so experimental, and there's these wonderful, like really intimate stages. They have fantastic Shakespeare theaters there. And plus, like, you know, we had kind of hi, my love, my 4-year-old saying hello to me. He had a half day.
Love it.
Today.
Oh, I love that.
Welcome home, Eddie. I love you.
His name's not Jane because he has opposable thumbs? Why did you name him Jane? You obviously don't like Jane Goodall enough.
His name is Buzz Aldrin.
Nice. Classic 4-year-old.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't he great? Aren't kids amazing?
They're amazing. I'm so tired all the time.
I know. I'm so sorry, but God bless you.
I love them so much. But today was an unexpected half day, so that's cool. Because I had set up this time with you guys, and I was like, oh shit.
Oh Lord.
But that's what my husband's for. You know, he doesn't need to be in nursing school right now. It's fine. It's fine.
That's nice.
Take a break. Yeah.
Oh wow.
He'll just stay up late and it'll be fine.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah. So
New York, LA.
Yes. So DC. Plus, I had a boyfriend at the time, and so there was that whole like, do we stay and try to do this, or do I go up to New York? And I ended up going to. I backpacked through Europe after I graduated college. Me and my best friend hopped on a plane, and we were gone 6 weeks. And
what? Wow.
Yeah. And, we worked 3 summers consistently to pay for it. We traveled all over. Again, it's just all about experiencing the world, right? Because I knew that at this point, that I wanted to be a storyteller, and I just wanted to see and experience as many different cultures and people as possible. It is the most, like, New York and Europe really have been the greatest teachers to me.
Me too. I feel exactly the same way.
Because all you have to do is go sit on the subway. Now it's a little bit more dangerous to do that because, people will not be in masks anymore. But, you sit on the subway and just watch people, or go to Central Park and just observe people being people. It's a free acting class. Like, it's literally.
I think the muse feeds off of action, and there, I went through years of just that whole like waiting by the phone type lifestyle of just like, no, I can't go. I'd love to go to, Yosemite, but I can't because I'm on call for this thing. And I so stale, this feeling of staleness. And then when you turn everything around and you go travel, you go here, you say, I'm going to put acting. It is important, but number two, life experiences is number one, because I think that's where all of the creativity and the inspiration comes. And if you're just waiting by the phone, you have nothing to grow. There's no ecosystem there, right?
Absolutely.
So that's great. And where did you go?
Oh God, we went
everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, we landed in London, blew through, 3/4 of our money because London was prohibitively expensive back in 2004. Oh my God. It was like the dollar meant nothing, gone. Like a can of Coke was $4. If that just gives you a sense of
you look at the price of
expensive.
everything and it's double.
At least. Yeah.
I was there in 2005 and it was shocking.
Thank you. Yeah. So we just, blew through our money. Then let's see, we went to Belgium. We went to several places in France. We were everywhere in Italy. Italy was beyond amazing. Germany, and we want to go back, but again, we ran out of money. And I'm so glad that I went when I did, because once you enter the workforce, you don't have that. And once you have kids, you don't have that kind of time anymore. So like there was this tiny little window, and I went, you know what? I deserve this. We deserve this. Let's just fucking go. Let's go. And God, it was amazing. I mean, I still carry with me all of those memories. Just like, I did a work study program in Belize when I was in college. And I carry those memories with me because I feel like as an artist, yes, I was with all my scientist friends, but I was the one who almost was able to catalog the memories of that trip, because I'm the one that can visualize it and interpret what we saw into something that was truly beautiful. And it was interesting because I was the first, and to my knowledge, still the only theater major who was in this life sciences program at Maryland. I was this very strange creature that people did not understand, but that's my MO. And I'm proud of that. I'm learning to just own the weirdness of my power, and it's fun. It's fun to just not care anymore. Yeah. It's very freeing, especially with auditions.
When did you feel like that kind of started to come into your picture? Was it later in your adult years? Was it in your 20s?
I think it's still unfolding. I don't feel like, because I think we're so driven by ego, that we're selfish as actors and artists. That's who we are. Because we're attention seekers and we need validation, and we need to understand that our choices are strong, people to tell us we're good, and to see our work, or read our work, or listen, in your case, to the podcast. We need our audience. And so I feel like I go through those times where I feel very needy, but then I also can unplug and just realize how incredibly fortunate and blessed I am. I think that it really revved up my sense of being free once I became a mom, because I realized that it really isn't about me at all.
And the more you abandon yourself to whatever source that is important, wonderful things start happening, right?
Honestly, I just don't have the time. I don't have the luxury of time anymore to waste on worrying about how I am received in the room or any other way, because I've got 2 little humans that rely on me, not to mention my animals, So I think really when I became a mom, a dog mom, a cat mom, and a human mom, there's just this fundamental shift. And I actually appreciate it greatly, because again, I just simply don't have the time to dedicate anymore to worrying about it. And I love it.
Isn't it great? That's great.
Yeah,
that's wonderful. Were you afraid of becoming a mother? And we've asked this question before to previous parents that we've interviewed. Were you originally kind of apprehensive about what it would do for your acting, and would it be affected? And would you become just a mother when in fact it kind of did the opposite?
I was terrified. We were not trying actively to become parents. We all know how these things happen. This is not the podcast for that. So, I find out I'm pregnant, and I just wept, like fell on the floor, keening, because I was just so devastated and didn't know what to do, because it felt so foreign to me. But and then there was the terror that set in, because I was in my second season of Blue Bloods at that point. And I wasn't, really an established character. I was just someone that they kept bringing back when, like they'd pepper me in the scene, and if I was needed, I'd be there. So I was so terrified that this glorious opportunity that I found myself with was going to be ripped from me, because, oh, we don't have time, to deal with her being pregnant, because they have to accommodate costumes and things like that. But I will never forget, I was with a friend, and we went to see a play, and I had gotten to the point where I was about 5 months pregnant. And I was just at the point where I looked, like I had definitively eaten a huge Chipotle burrito. Like I could not suck it in anymore. I had been sucking it in, for 5 months at this point. So I had to call into the producer to tell her. And I mean, like I was shaking with fear. I've never been so apprehensive, literally, about anything ever. And she finally, I got on the phone with her and told her, and there was just this tiny beep, and she goes, Mazel tov. And I just went, oh my God. And I breathed deeper. I mean, like I cannot tell you the weight that was taken off. And it just was like the easiest, most effortless thing in the world for her. And I went, why on earth did I agonize over this and wait so long? Like the things that we do not allow ourselves to do or feel because of fear.
TVs and films, they're such huge machines, and actors, even though they're a big part of it, they're only a small cog in this huge machine. And you don't want to be disruptive or, hey, sorry, I need, this kind of treatment or a favor. You just want to like keep doing your job, show up, do your work, go home, be reliable, all those things. So when it's something like that, exactly. Yeah. And so how did all that come about with Blue Bloods?
Getting the role?
Yeah, with you were saying you didn't realize it was going to be such a recurring thing.
Yeah. So, so I was solidly with this retail position, bouncing around, managing various locations. I even did a stint on QVC for a hot minute and realized that was not for me. We'll talk about that in a little bit. God, doing a show at 3 a.m.
Oh,
no. And having to be like this perky, no, it's a whole other thing.
In Connecticut or something? They take you
where
up
was
north?
it? Yeah, I was on a train. Was it Connecticut?
I kept getting breakdown. They were like, come to Connecticut and talk all day to this camera about,
where? It must have been somewhere in Connecticut, because I remember taking the train and like, getting picked up and taken there. But I mean, they put you through like hours of training for it. And I was also really, really nervous with SAG, because I wasn't sure what the union rules were. And I was like, do I need to change my name? Do I just do it as like my legal name instead of my stage name? Like, I don't want to break, the global rule 1 and do something. I really was so afraid of doing something wrong. When you have like this slim measure of success and you feel like you're on this razor edge of, if you just veer off at all, you're going to lose everything all the momentum that you've gained. I was so scared. And so I finally went, I appreciate that you guys sent me to all that training, and I love trying to sell your products online, but it's just not for me. Right. And that was another whole conversation that I was like, oopsie, sorry for wasting your time. So sorry. But now, now I would be so much more cavalier with it and be like, listen, I can't do this at 3 a.m. I'm sorry. I hope sometimes you find a human who can, but it's not me. And it was good money too. I mean, at the time it was like $400 a day, outside of my retail pay. And I'm like, do I really want to toss this? But I lost.
You gotta do what you're feeling good about. And if it's something that's a little bit of a struggle or friction, it's like, you gotta be able to just let it go.
When you're a host on QVC, the host does not, like, the host just they literally take over. Like the guest host is like a little parasite, who that parasite's lucky if, they get 2 words in edgewise. And I remember I was like doing this thing with shea butter soap and showing how fantastic the lather was. She's just bulldozing the conversation and talking over me. And I'm like, okay, this is fun. I just kept going, I could not, like, she just, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, that's my job.
Right.
I'm the one that's not supposed to shut up. But that's not how it works there. They're very like, the host is in charge and you have to go off of the host's energy. And I was way too dominant and I didn't want to do it. I know this about myself now. So it does not play well with others. I'm just kidding. I'm fine. I love playing with others. So I had been, the other beautiful thing about this retail job is that they let me audition quite frequently. I would just like,
that's rare.
Yes, they were wonderful.
Wow.
And, unlike restaurant positions, you don't get a lot of actors that are store managers, right? Like L'Occitane had not really seen many actors. And the only reason I even thought of applying for a job there is because my cousin worked for corporate. And she was like, listen, why don't you just see if you can, come on as a sales associate? And I did great. I mean, I actually loved talking to people about skincare.
And I bet it was nice to have some money coming in every week, never having that situation where you're in an audition, you're saying, in order for me to pay rent this month, I must book this, right?
Correct. Yeah, no, this was, and it was a fantastic job. I mean, it was a full-time position. Once I became a manager, I was salaried. I had benefits. I had insurance. I had a pension. I had all of these.
And best of all, they allowed you to audition.
Yes,
that's amazing.
Because I was able to go on my lunch break, ride the train, do the audition, come back. If I went a couple minutes over my hour, I would just tack it on to the end. And I always got my work done, and my work ethic, I made myself needed. I was kind and I made sure that I did my job. And simply doing your job and being kind, can't even tell you how far that will get you.
Yeah, I would say, Abigail, that I've had hundreds of jobs, I'm sure, but a handful of those that I was off doing auditions and shooting for a week somewhere, they would always welcome me back. And it was always those jobs that I was like the head server, or I was like there helping manager do something, because I was reliable, kind, and they allowed me to go to the audition and allowed me to come back because of those things. Now, if there was somebody who was just always auditioning, they didn't really give a shit about what tables they had, of course they'd be let go. But side jobs are essential, especially starting out. And if you're kind and you're hardworking, then it's a little bit less friction for when you're trying to straddle both worlds.
Exactly. I mean, I remember I booked a regional theater production out in Illinois, my hometown.
Where you're
Chicago.
from. Yeah. Oh, lovely. Chicago. Yeah. Beautiful.
The funny thing is that my husband is from Iowa. Like, he's literally from the Midwest, but I'm not. But whatever.
Everyone thinks you are. Maybe it's because you're so
bizarre.
kind.
But I remember like booking it, this was an Actors Access gig that I just booked, which was awesome. And being like, damn, do I give up, my steady income and take a leave of absence, which at least I had that option. I could like freeze my pension and my benefits and just take off for 3 months and go to the middle of the country and hang out and do theater. And I almost didn't do it because I'd never heard of the theater. I'd never heard of Rock Island, Illinois. Never heard of it. Didn't know what the Quad Cities were. I didn't know that there's 2 cities on Illinois, 2 cities on Iowa, and Mississippi's right in the middle. Had no idea what that meant. But I went, no, I moved here to do this. And like, I actually now have this opportunity. So I'm going to take it. And I wrote the letter and I sent it to, my boss and their superiors. And they were like, awesome, go. Your job will be here waiting for you. Have a blast.
Oh my God.
Amazing. So, and then I met my husband, that's another story. Met him out there. Yeah. So, I was constantly auditioning. I was working with a manager who would get me, she got me in front of quite a few different casting directors.
Now, how did you get this manager?
I feel like, so I was with another manager for a very long time, who ended up getting out of the business, and she wanted to be sure that I was taken care of. So she recommended that I interview with this other manager, which I did. And personal managers are another whole, I mean, we could talk for hours about whether or not you need them, whether it's worth having 25% of your income skimmed right off the top.
Right.
But I feel that it is, because they get you in the room. What you do once you're in the room is obviously all you, but if they are giving you that opportunity that you can't otherwise afford yourself, why would you not? So she
is a business of gatekeepers.
Yes, it really is. So I'd rather have 75% of guaranteed pay than 100% of income. I don't know when it's coming and if it's coming.
Right.
So this was a brand new show. I knew that Tom Selleck was the star, and this was a role that, and I think I've said this before in other interviews, there was really it wasn't that it was right for me. It wasn't anything. They didn't have a gender in mind. They didn't have a race in mind. They didn't have an age in mind. It was Detective Mel / Melissa. And it was,
so you're not only competing with people who are your type, but you're competing with literally every single type.
Literally everyone.
If you have a pulse, we'll see you.
And these are scenes, these are scenes with Tom Selleck. And at this point, like, I had done a couple little bit parts, I'd done some under fives on SVU, and, a couple shows that filmed out in Connecticut. Are We There Yet? There was one other one.
Jim Gaffigan, was that before?
That was after.
After, okay.
Not too much after, but that was after.
So you had your bearings, you had done a little bit, but you were still not at that point though, where you had your name on the back of a chair.
Oh yeah, no, definitely didn't have my name on the back of a chair. And I had done theater as well. The company that I worked for was lovely with letting me only work day shifts so that I could do nighttime theater. So I was working, unpaid, but working and auditioning fairly consistently. But this one, I went in, and this was in Greenpoint, Brooklyn, which at that point I was like, what is in Greenpoint, Brooklyn? Like there wasn't a
sound stages,
yeah.
Yeah.
This was before Brooklyn became this big hub for shows,
right?
Because this is 12 years ago at this point, which
it was just
insane.
Starting.
Yeah. And the director was in the room, the casting director was in the room, and the producer was in the room, and I felt really great about it. And then I just let it go, because I was like, okay, clearly, like, this is, a 1 in a million shot.
Right.
and then I got it, and I was like, holy shit, I'm gonna work with Tom Selleck. Oh my god.
And did you know that this was going to be recurring, or
no,
because you were kind of?
No, this was a one-off. This character was.
Now you have 200 episodes.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah. And it just, again, goes to show you, and, I don't want this to be like an adage or some idiom or something, but like, it really does go to show you, if you make yourself indispensable within reason, obviously you can't like be annoying, but like, you make yourself indispensable, you're kind, you get to know the crew's names, and you understand that everybody is a cog in a very big wheel, you're gonna be asked back. And Tom took a liking to me instantly. I think I don't know, it's one of those things. It's just one of those things that the universe,
you work long hours, man, like TV and film. You guys you're together in a show like that, where you guys are 22 episodes, you shoot for 9 months.
Yeah.
16-hour days. You want to be surrounded by people who are reliable and good people, because you have to spend a lot of time together.
And Tom is very, his whole MO is authenticity. He really, like, it's important to him to get it right. And he really dove deep into One Police Plaza and what it means to be the commissioner. And so he realized that, heavy is the head that wears the crown, right? When you're the king and things revolve around you, you can't actually show emotions, but the people that are around you can.
It's a leadership kind of strategy or belief rather,
yes,
right?
They are the ones, like your team, your inner circle, as he calls it. They're the ones that can show what's actually going on, the stress, the drama, you know, the just how frenetic that universe is.
Yeah, the pillar does not crack.
Correct.
Everything else does, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So he realized he wanted me back because I became familiar to him.
Right.
And we had such an easy, natural rapport that has now become this beautiful shorthand that we can get scenes out so quickly, you know, because we understand how the other one ticks. I mean, we've been working together over a decade now.
And this happens sometimes. Sorry to interrupt, Abigail, but like when this happened on Playboy Club before it canceled after like 3 episodes, but I did the same thing because I saw it from somebody else. There's this girl, her last name is Cunningham, and I can't remember her first name, but she was on as a Playboy bunny, and she wrote thank you cards. I think we mentioned this in an episode before, but she did her diligence as not annoying as possible of just saying, hey, I just want to show my appreciation for being here.
Sure.
They knew that when I was brought on as like a co-star, sometimes in like the breakdown, it might say might recur. And it's almost like, and for those listening, if you've never like been through this or heard about this, but they do, like Adam said, need to trust that this person's going to be reliable for 200 episodes. And before that, they bring you on for maybe it's another 5, and it's just to test you out to see if something lightning strikes like you and Tom, you know.
Yes.
You can't just say, let's just audition a bunch of people and pick this one for the person cemented in our show for the next 8 years. They have to like trust. And the only way that anybody can trust is if they have you in the room so they can gauge the familiarity and the chemistry and all that. So if you're getting that under 5, don't think that for any reason that you'll never come back, depending on what the role is. There's always an opportunity for you to just be yourself, and for people to producers are always watching, writers are always watching to see who they can kind of trust and bring back and enhance the storyline. So good for you for doing it. It's hard to toe that line of like, I want to be noticeable but not annoying noticeable.
Well,
I want to be memorable but not, you know.
Yeah, you have to be willing to be in the shadows. And you know, I really learned
shine in the shadows.
Yes. And I learned very quickly, every time they had me back, you know, I didn't have a ton of dialogue. I was just always there. I was this steady presence. And I realized that like I was the heartbeat of that office, and you can't do anything, you know, without the heartbeat. So like I knew what was going on at all times. And so I learned actually how to show that with my face without saying a word. And I'm very, very proud of that fact, because she has become this like beacon of non-dialogue. She says so much without saying a damn word.
Yeah, your best acting is you're reacting. And they say that communication is 80% nonverbal or whatever. I mean, it really is the face. And what a lot of actors don't realize is you can say everything you want with no dialogue at all. And the best co-stars and guest stars and series regulars are those who don't need lines to convey the story at all.
Correct.
You know, so good for
and
you.
You don't
How did you figure that out? Was that just intuitive?
I think so. You know, again, it goes back to observing. And just watching. I just really was watching Tom work, and I realized almost instantly that Baker's relationship to Frank is the exact same relationship as my relationship with Tom. There is that mentor. So Tom calls Baker Frank's protege. He's like grooming her to become police commissioner one day. She's literally his second hand. And so she doesn't, you know, I'm trying to think.
Spinoff show.
There was like a certain, right? I haven't named it Baker's Dozen or anything, but you know.
Right.
I haven't thought about that at all.
If it were a show, that's
I don't know. You know, it might be like Brooklyn, you know, 9-9 and be a comedy version of the One Police Plaza Office. But like, I haven't thought about it at all. I would
Ryan Murphy isn't going to executive producer. Maybe he will. I don't know. I haven't talked about him. Yeah.
Who the hell knows? Maybe Judd Apatow would make a movie or something. But like, I don't think about that.
Yeah.
But like, really, you know, it's been so much freaking luck. Like, yes, I, you know, made this character my own and have continued to flesh her out as opportunity has afforded me, but it was just luck. You know, I happened to be what they wanted, someone who wouldn't compete with Tom. You can't compete with the sun. You have to complement the sun. You know, like I'm rotating around him and very much a part of his galaxy, but I am not the sun, and I've never tried to be the sun. He is the sun, and so I am subject to his gravity at all times. So it's shining in the shadows,
which is very, very which is very important that why it's very important to read the breakdowns of the other actors, especially in a pilot, or, you know, you came in on the second episode with what little information you have. It's reading the breakdowns of the other actors, so you know not only like your chemistry and the reason you're here, but everybody else. And if I'm on a baseball team and I know, oh, that's the shortstop, that's the catcher, well, okay, I'm the center field. Oh, okay, so I know what other people are doing, so that actually helps.
Yes.
The idea of what I do, you know? So,
yes.
So you're so thorough. I mean, there's no coincidence, and I don't think it was luck at all. It's opportunity meets readiness, and it's what's inside that made this happen. But if the opportunity was there and you weren't ready for it, or you didn't, it was you. I mean, these unique experiences and insights that you have, honest to God, that a lot of actors just don't, and it's just a little bit of know-how and a little bit of,
I mean, I do think,
you know,
I do think it helped, number one, that I was classically trained. I really do. I think that a lot of these kids that are trying to break into film and TV now, you know, through YouTube and anything else, they just don't understand what it means to be part of an ensemble. They don't know, and they don't know. Like, I mean, I took, like, my acting coach back in Georgia was so phenomenal with helping me go from big to small and fitting into whatever universe there was. And, you know, I realized very quickly that, like, Baker is not this. She is very stoic. She feels very deeply, but she does not express it. Just like Frank. Frank is like a kettle that's simmering, and like he doesn't explode. He's right there, and he keeps a lid on it. And she's very similar to that. So they work really well together because they can vent to each other when and if they need to. And Tom and I are like that also. I mean, there's such a mutual respect. And I truly admire him as a person, because even though there's many things we don't agree on, many issues that we don't agree on, I have never, ever felt minimalized by him, marginalized by him. I have a seat at the table always. He is my biggest advocate and my biggest fan in terms of making sure that I am present. Like, if I'm not written into a scene, he's like, we'll get her here. She needs to be here.
Nice.
You know, so
he's no Anna Paquin.
That's right.
Oh, God.
That's right. Suck it, Anna. Sorry, Mom. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mom and Brooke. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Wow. So he's like in your corner, and that's so amazing.
He really is. So, you know, I hear what you're saying with the whole like luck thing, but, you know, a lot of it truly is, I mean, it's him too. You know, every relationship is two-sided, and a partnership. And I have learned, I mean, he is an entire masterclass in acting just on his own. Just watching him is the most fascinating. And like, he doesn't do anything. He's so wonderful at being still. And you can just get such a read on the heaviness that he carries with him. I mean, I can't, like, I gush over him all the time. I truly love him. I really, really do. And Greg and Bob. I mean, like, I work with these fantastic giants of stage and screen. You know, Greg's a Tony winner. Bob's done Broadway, and they're amazing. And they're my family. They really, really are. And it reads, you know, I think it does come through. That chemistry, you can't force it. If it's not there, it's not there.
Did you, you know, we jumped to this incredible point in your career where everything sort of culminated to this incredible point. but none of it could happen without whatever happened before in your
Absolutely.
20s. And how, I mean, what happened when you got out of school and you came to New York? You didn't have all these credits.
No.
How did you start, and what walls did you hit, and how did you keep going?
It just was, I mean, listen, I moved on a high. I graduated magna cum laude. I had that theater scholarship. I'd gone through Europe. I was in a strong relationship with a very talented actor. Had all these contacts in DC that I was leaving behind. And I was just like, I'm going to make New York my bitch and this is going to be great. And then, you move, and I had, $1,200 in my pocket, and it was gone the second I signed my deposit. And I had to instantly call my dad and be like, oh, so there's this thing called a security deposit that you also need. And I also don't have any money for food. And I also accidentally knocked my deodorant into the toilet and flushed it. And I have to buy a new toilet for my super. And that's going to be $400. Hi, Dad. Thanks.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And also we have to bomb our apartment because there's roaches. Okay. Thanks, Dad. Okay. Yeah. And also I have to join SAG, and that's going to be like another $1,400.
Right.
Oh my God. So, I started the way, like, it's so hard to have these conversations now. I talk to a lot of young actors, and like the road that I took really doesn't exist anymore. So it's hard to make it relevant, because like I came to New York at a time when it was the breakdowns on oh my God, why can't I backstage?
Right.
That was like, I had the Ross reports and backstage,
like the printout, the actual thing, or was it? Yeah.
Yes, like where you would circle things and go, okay, I'm going to submit to this. I had my, my big 8.5 by 11 envelopes with my resume and my headshot,
Mm-hmm.
And then Actors Access was around, and that was the other thing that I used. So
it's funny, there are actors who are 4 or 5 years simply ahead, and I'm reading this really cool biography from Jenna Fisher about the same thing, and she says, what, but like you take 5 years from like 2007 2012, everything changed in the way that we get our jobs. So it's like two different generations that were only split by a couple of years.
The interesting thing, and like now that I'm thinking about this, because I'm trying to think, okay, how did I get my manager? So working down in Soho, I was at one of the L'Occitane locations, and that area was bumping. Like we'd get a ton of celebrities coming in, and a guy came in who was a manager. I didn't end up signing with him exclusively, but he sent me out on quite a few auditions. Like we chatted. He was the only person in the store. I sold him some lavender hand cream and, wrapped it up nice for him. And he was like, listen, here's my card. I'd love to start sending you out to some things. And I was like,
this is at your work.
Yeah, this is at my job.
I don't want to sweep this away. I want everybody who's like listening to know this is just yet another example of a person just hitting the ground and going to her side job and just doing the thing that you need to do. And look, there's somebody who's going to help facilitate your dreams.
I mean, like I had, I helped out Mickey Rourke. Like I can't.
Who hasn't?
Yeah, but like I'm trying to think of it. I could tell you stories about Goldie Hawn. I could tell you, like I had paparazzi friendships. Like I'd come in and he'd come in and show me the pictures that he'd snapped of the day. Like I made myself as available and open and friendly as possible, and people would stop in, and it was fun.
Well, that sort of open personality led to an approachability, and it's no coincidence that the right people found you because you were open to it. You were not closed off like this guy who was like making drinks and bartending, saying, "I can't believe I have to actually make somebody a drink." It's a bartender,
but mixology is very on fleek these days. I don't think anyone says that anymore.
On fleek, on fire, lit, on lit.
Lit, it's on lit.
Yeah,
it's very French. It's on lit.
Well, the name of this episode.
On lit. What? My manager that I started working with for quite a few years, I had sent her a submission with the cover letter, the headshot, the resume. This was through Backstage for a project that she was casting. And she called me and she's like, hey, so I already cast that, but I would really be interested in talking to you about whether you have a manager. I think you've got a great look, you know, you have a very like girl next door, all American look, and I'd love to talk to you and, you know, and see what we could do. And that, I mean, she called me on my cell phone and I had to like take it out of my little L'Occitane apron. It was my flip phone. And I'm like, hello, you know, just so hilarious the way that things go. And, you know, I made quite a few contacts just at my job. I remember there was one time in the Time Warner building when Renee Zellweger came in, and I first of all, I adore her for so many reasons. I just think she is so charming and talented. And, you know, she came in and I'm master at reading people. And I knew she wanted to be just left alone. You know, like I've never been the type of salesperson to be like, oh, hello, what do you need? And like be up your butt the entire time you're wandering the store. Plus our store was like, you know, 200 square feet. It's a tiny little store. So I just stayed behind the register. I knew it was her instantly, but like, I was so chill. Inside I wasn't, but you know, but on the outside I was cool as a cucumber. So suave. So when she gets up to the register and I was like, I just have to tell you that I'm a huge fan of your work. And she looked up at me and
she said, who are you?
Who are you?
Right.
She lit up like a Christmas tree and she goes, are you an actor? And I said, I mean, I suppose that depends on who you're talking to, but I was like, yeah, I'm an actor. And she looked right at me and just like saw into my soul. And she goes, you're going to make it. And I was like, she goes, no, you are. You're going to make it. And
wow.
I have carried that with me. Like, I mean, I hope I actually get to see her.
You have to tell her,
you know,
you have to find, that's going to happen though, you know, down the road, like you're going to find yourself.
I bet the word work tipped her off.
Maybe.
Because a lot of people would just say, oh, I'm a huge fan of you.
Right.
And it's different when you say like, the thing that you do for a living, your work. I'm a fan of the art that you make.
Yes.
You also had the decency to not be like, hi, alone. Renee, nice to meet you. I just a big fan, right? No, you had that.
Like if she needed, I mean, she was shopping. Most people that, you know, tend to come into the Provençal store and shop for lavender. That's what you do. French lavender is the best there is. So she was going, you know, straight for the lavender candle. And I was like, just saying, you know, there's a bubble bath that's really good. Also got to do that upsell.
You were in Chicago. I'm from Chicago.
Yeah, I'm from there. The internet says so it must be true.
You can look it up.
Yeah. Mr. Cellophane. Yeah, so, you know, I think, again, like having a job that respected my time, and there was that mutual understanding that I would give back as 110% when I was there and be committed when I was there. But when I wasn't there, I was, you know, needing to do my thing. If I hadn't had that job, I don't really know where I would have been. Like that, it was so pivotal to.
You could have easily gone, like clocked in and been like, I cannot believe I'm at this side job. Let's just get through the day, sell whatever. This like, come terrible. On. Right. But you didn't. And good. Like, I wish I was a little bit more open to the idea that wherever I am, it doesn't matter what crappy job I'm working at, there are things happening. And if I just open up myself and allow it to like wash over me that I'm right where I need to be and everything that's coming will come and it's okay, it would have been a lot easier.
Was it? I think it was Mike Rowe, Dirty Jobs with Mike Rowe. He has this whole thing about that, about how you can truly find happiness and success right where you are. Like you can find fulfillment. You just have to open your mind to it. Because it's, and I try to do that with my kids. Honestly. And it's not easy. Like they're in a tough, you know, yesterday they take swim lessons. And yesterday my 4-year-old, the swim instructor, you have to jump into the pool at the end of every lesson. And he does not like to go under. We don't know why. He's been in the pool since he was 6 months old, but he just doesn't like to go under. It's just like,
it's probably because he can't breathe.
Oh, that does make
Mom,
sense.
I tried to breathe down there and it just doesn't work.
You know,
went right up the nose.
My older one has gills, so like that makes perfect sense. My God,
you do love animals, don't you?
I so do.
Jumping in a pool, I see
my dog's a monkey.
My pet manatee. My pet manatee and my dugong. Anyway, so yeah, so the guy, and he's the sweetest college kid, but you know, he just like let him go so that he went fully under and then popped him back up. And he was never in any danger.
Right.
But that kid was beyond traumatized, like shaking, sobbing. Like he was crying so hard that there were no tears. He was doing that like open mouthed, you know, like, you know, just, and all I could do. And at that moment, I'm like, oh God, come on. Like you can do
Go back under.
Exactly what, right. Yeah. This is what you need to do. Just rip the Band-Aid off and do it. But at that moment, he just needed to be held. So I just did what needed to be done in that moment. And I try, you know, in the middle of the frustrations when it's so freaking hard, when they, you know, when it's like 10 o'clock and they won't go to bed, or when they wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and they're wide awake and you're like, why? To just be there and understand that all of this is so fleeting, and there is so much value to be gleaned just from these beautiful, intimate, tiny little moments. Like that is a short film just right there. Like you can take so much from that. And I'm very grateful to my kids because they teach me all the time. I mean, like I'm constantly in the process of reshaping who I am because of them. You know, and I don't know if we'll ever get it back in the pool, but that's another.
Abigail Hawk, you're incredible. Thank you.
Yeah,
you are. Do you have any advice for, you know, any kids kind of coming out of college who might want to be getting into this, or, you know, any other actors? Do you have any advice for people?
I mean, I think we've said most of my immediate advice, which is to be kind, do your job, and, you know, making yourself indispensable, make yourself needed, finding your joy in the work, where you are, and not being afraid to just like take the job, even if you're not going to make money. Like a lot of my experience, I did a whole bunch of student films, you know, where you just do it for the credit and the DVD and the free meal or whatever. And like,
I did it for the money, but yeah.
Well, I didn't get any money for mine. I got a whole
bunch
of
directors. I didn't either.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, the food was the money, you know, I'm like, I got food.
You get lunch. That's amazing. I'm going to eat today.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh my God. I don't have to pay for $1 pizza. But, you know, I think you have to get the experience, because that's where you really get to play, is with that like the underground theater stuff, you know, do the readings of your friends' projects. You know, we're in this world where we're doing so much like Zoom stuff now, and like just say yes to the readings, like make the time for it, and try to take at least 20 minutes a day to focus on your craft, whether that's television, film, theater, music, you know, whatever the case. Take 20 minutes to further, because all the baby steps, they do add up. And I feel like that advice is very timeless. You know, you just have to make the time, because you're never going to have enough time in the day. You're never going to sleep enough, and you're never going to feel like you're ready. But keep reading. Stay on with what shows, you know, are film near you, so that you understand when you go in what the universe is, know who casts them, you know, and what their style is. You have to be a chameleon, and you need to have some form of easy income. Like I feel like there's a lot of opportunity now to make income even from home. Like I have quite a few friends. I've got one that comes to mind right now. She's a health coach. She's a commercial actor, but she works for a wellness company, and she sells supplements and vitamins, and she makes like, you know, half of like $5,000 a month just with this side hustle of selling these wonderful organic products. And like, because she's an actor, this is her, you know, she knows how to sell to people and how to keep people coming back. She's fabulous at customer service. So you need to make sure that you've got income that's going to be there for you when things dry up, like when a pandemic happens and, you know, you don't have work. That's
and when you have a little bit of that, something that you know is on the side, the most stressful and hardest moments, which are really the catalyst of being so poor, you just don't have that. And to not have that stress and the pressure of the money thing is I think one of the hardest parts of acting. Really, so if you have something like that, then what the hell are you going to complain about that you didn't get the call? Like, that's the only thing you have to think about. It's not about eating or
going. Yeah, I had so many friends that had to just even move to completely different states and change careers entirely because of COVID. You know, so many Broadway actors who have kids that just they had to, you know, in order to survive. There was no work. So
Adam, did you know that we've been in the same room with Abigail maybe a year and a half ago? Are you aware?
Yeah. So
Abigail,
I saw your picture, a picture on IMDb, and I went, why do I know that? Something about this photo, and I was like, I went through your thing, and I was like, oh my God, this Distemper premiered at
Big Apple
Film Festival the same night my short film that I wrote, directed, and starred in, Tom
Lost and
as
Found.
well.
And I couldn't even make it to Big Apple, which made me so sad.
So we weren't in the same room. Well, you were on the screen at least, but that was lovely. That was so well done.
Oh, thank you.
Elias.
I'm
sorry. Yeah, I've seen him before. I think we're connected through social media and stuff. But that was very well done. Period piece. It was very. That was very difficult to pull off.
Yeah, that's our baby. We really. I want somebody to pick that show up. So it's got so much to say. And can you even, right now it's so relevant. There is just, it hits on everything. It's just such a beautiful human interest piece. And you've got diversity, you've got LGBT stories, you've got science, you've got women in STEM, you've got, it hits everything, racism, like all of it.
Well, you did a great job.
Thank you.
I was like, oh my gosh, what a small world. I knew.
That's really strange. That's so fun. Well, see, that makes sense now that I don't have to feel bad that, I didn't feel like I recognized you from anywhere.
You didn't know us.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, obviously I recognize Tommy from Natasha's social media because it's the most beautiful thing in the world to see her so happy.
She's so cute.
God, she's the freaking cutest. Like I love her. I met her when she was wearing nothing but a towel during Rich Boy, Rich Girl. And she was just so cute when they like switched clothes and
really? Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, we did a feature together, and I'd never met her, and then we found out we were both with Buchwald's.
Oh yeah. Well, she still wears a towel. Like
well, why would you wear anything else? I hope that's going to be her wedding dress.
It is. It's white, so yeah,
perfect. Just make sure it's Egyptian cotton. Got to go fancy.
Exactly.
Got to elevate.
Abigail, where can people find you online?
Well, I'm not on TikTok yet. I am on Instagram. I am on Facebook. I am on Twitter. And I do have 3 movies out right now. They all dropped like at the same time, which is super fun, but it was, the whole, like I filmed all of them in 2018, 2019 pandemic.
Right.
Then they all get released. They're all available on Amazon. That's probably the easiest way to find them. There is Distemper. Distemper is on Amazon. Under the Stadium Lights, which I did with Lawrence Fishburne and Mel Gibson's son Milo.
I saw the poster on iTunes last night.
I rented it. Well, we bought it last night. It turned out pretty well. I'm
nice.
Actually really, it was a good experience. Cute little film. Assault on VA-33, which is like Die Hard on steroids. I play a general's wife, and I get kidnapped and thrown in a trunk, and it's super awesome. And then The Wrong Path, where I am the villain. the villainess.
Which Drew Moreline was in that with you. He was a guest on our show. Yeah.
I love Drew. And hopefully we get to work together again. He and I had a blast.
He's such a great guy.
He's a great guy. That was a very hot film shoot. There was just very steamy, but like I think we filmed in July and it was just disgusting. So hot. Like we were dripping off our makeup and had to do, Drew had to do all these stunts.
Drew's just shirts off and he's just glistening.
Yes, and clearly that was horrible for everyone.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah, right.
Terrible.
Heard it all before.
And Vince Otto, who was in Rocky, like the two of them. I'm like, really? Can we just please?
Is that eight abs? Oh my god.
Yeah, or like cheaper by the dozen. And I'm over here with my like, oh, I get sunburned by being outside for 10 seconds, and I'm just like,
exactly.
It's fine.
Abigail Hawk, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate your time.
Absolutely. This was so much fun. Thank you guys for letting me talk your ears off for an hour.
Absolutely.
So glad you stopped by, Abigail. We'll have you back on very soon. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.